Tom Sanzone is a graduate of Villanova University. He received the St. Thomas of Villanova Alumni Medal, the Distinguished Service Award, and the College of Engineering Professional Achievement Award. He served on Villanova's Alumni Association Board of Directors from 2011 to 2017. He fully retired in 2019, following a 51-year career at the NASA Johnson Space Center, JSC, in Houston. He most recently served as Senior Executive for Engineering for MRI Technologies from 2011 to 2019. He initially supported the company's efforts during the Apollo program, when he trained most of the Apollo astronauts, including Neil Armstrong, in the use of the company's portable life support system, backpack, that was successfully used on the moon. He became general manager in 1986. His hobbies have included marathon running, Formula Ford racing, traveling internationally with his wife, Brenda, and his 3 grandchildren. He first served as a United Space School host parent in 2018 and has continued in that role since.
What's your story? Have you got a significant moment in this whole many with the years that you look back to and you cherish the most?
I, my mother was always African. My mother was born before the Wright brothers flew their flight, and she lived to just under 100 years old. 3 months short, and she saw men walking the moon. She was always after me. You know, they say the older you get, the smarter your parents become, right? That's right. And so she was always after me. The term I use is smell the roses. You know, realize where you are, take it all in. And I will tell you, personally to a person, none of us did that. We were always like in the moment. What do we have to do next? What's the next? Even when Apollo 11 landed, we had Apollo 12 right on Zito. We couldn't sit back and, you know, we partied for one night for sure. But we couldn't sit back. So, and it's only upon reflection. I've not been asked that question a single moment. But on reflection, it's a lot easier to do. It's like the guy I told you in the diner, saying he didn't realize the significance to the country. Because it all comes back to Apollo 11, to people that worked on Apollo. But we were so in the moment that we never smelled the roses, you know? So in a way, we rent that town. My mother was right. And we certainly reflect now, particularly the older we get, everybody has stories. So I've never sort of thought about it, but I guess it would have to come down to, meet the Kennedy's goal, because there were 400,000 people that worked on the Apollo, 400,000. And here we were, a friend of mine says, you had a front row seat in this thing, but we didn't recognize it. I know it's this. Now we have some great reunions where people do a lot of reflecting, kind of like this, and there's great stories that come out of it. So the night of Apollo 11, I can't say it was like, yeah. I mean, we went to Ellington had an officers club, and we were talking about the Nassau Bay Resort odor, and the grand piano went in the pool. The night we landed, or where the mission was over, because nobody partied until the mission, until that was like 4 days later. So there was some pretty. That's where the term splashdown parties came from. There were some pretty. Is that where that song came from? Pardon me? Is that where the song came from? It's a song. The moon. Oh. That's the one grip of it. Yeah. Huh? Yeah, that's another one. Yeah. There was some alcohol involved. Says that. Hey. Anybody else have anything? I don't know. I'm hoping I answered your question.
You did. I think you met it. It was incredible life.
I've had. I felt a little bit I'll say guilty because I viewed it as if I were joining a sports team. It has a championship caliber sports team. But all the people that had gone before me were the ones that had been to all these practices. They had put in all the blood, sweat, and tears. I got to the Johnson Space Center, Manned Spacecraft Center, it was called back then. That was 3 months before the first man to the Apollo flight, Apollo 7. And I felt like, and we didn't have much in common, the Apollo 7 or 8 with our equipment. But when we got to Apollo 9, and somebody had mentioned Rusty Schweikert earlier, he's the first one to do a spacewalk with our equipment in low Earth orbit. They want us to test it. First flight of the Mermaid. And then Apollo 10 was like the dress rehearsal for Apollo 11, and they came very close to the moon. They're looking out, like maybe we're just doing that. And then Apollo 11 was domination, and Apollo 12 was right on its heels in case Apollo 11 didn't make it, before the end of 69. They would have been the first guy walking. So there's a certain amount of luck in. But anyway, I felt like, particularly for like Apollo 11, if I stopped and thought about it, it's like you're in the back a little bit pushing control, and they're about to land on the moon, and use your equipment. I would have been, no pun intended, over the moon. And it was just do your job. So, do your job. And to be honest with you, I can't remember. I need to ask one of the other guys who was in the world. I can't remember television in our bathroom that we stared at data screens. That you guys did a lot of it. Staring at the data screens. The data would come down from the moon in a digital form to be displayed on TV screens. And Rob knows we tell this story the other day and actually show one of the sheets. Yeah. Any engineer knows that a piece of data is just a piece of data. You've got to look at trends, right? Where you are right now, that's interesting, but where you got to be, where you come from, what's happening, if it's getting better, worse, same, the same. We took that digital data off the screens and plotted it by hand on 8.5 by 17 graph meters. We have stopwatches that we use for on a board. But how much oxygen time do we have left? Heat exchanger time. I mean, it was crazy. So there were 4 of us, two for Aldrin and 2 for Armstrong. I was on Armstrong's. And so this other guy and I shared the responsibility. We had like a dozen channels, the telemetry coming down, temperatures, pressures, things like that. And I don't remember watching the TV screen. When I think back, there had to be one there because we had in Apollo, my company made the life support backup, but we didn't make the spacesuit. So there were spacesuit guys watching, if they fell, we worked together, obviously. And then when shuttle came arrived, the system, the NASA bill was integrated, and we became the prime contractor for the whole thing, including the system. But honestly, I don't remember looking at anything but data, and plotting this data. I do remember one of the other guys that was plotting data, when we left the building, somebody said to him, how did it go? How did your system perform? Or something like that. Some other kid like me. And he said, well, they're alive, aren't they? I mean, that was his reaction, it's a life support system you never liked, so, and it was a little tongue.